little baby.
Yeah, there should be people on the way. You all right? The neighbors to my left, the daughter had fallen down the stairs. That was just absolutely heartbreaking.
Is it over? The storm?
Yeah, the storm's over here. One second.
Go ahead.
How are you guys doing? The storm's gone, so it's all right. Hey, you guys want to come up here?
The little ones were way downstairs when the doors were open and everything was flying around. I was trying to get down.
That's pretty exciting, huh? It was kind of a wild situation. You know, there was no power. Children were crying. You just try to do things as calm and take everything one step at a time.
I remember the first one we got to was an elderly lady, and the exterior bathroom wall had fallen over and just basically encased her in the bathtub. We went and just pushed the wall up and helped her up, and then me and Nate saw a little girl standing on a pile of rubble that used to be her house, and she was just standing there crying for her mom and her sister. We heard the sister first, found her after a few minutes of digging, and we could hear the mom calling. We wound up having to tear a door off of some of the debris and used it as a backboard and carried the mom out to an ambulance that was there.
The first 3 patients that came to the hospital came by ambulance, and we never saw them on the trauma hall because they perished before they actually got into the hospital. It was very difficult because they're children. Patients came so quickly, and they just continued to come. It's like there was no end. Before you knew it, the whole emergency department was completely filled. People sitting in the floors, on countertops. Rooms that were made for one patient would have 4 and 5 patients. The hard part is you would have mamas and daddies coming and looking for their children. So you had to tell them, I don't know where your child is. And so you have these panicked parents begging you to tell them that their children are okay, and you can't.
Thank you so much. He's terrified. I'm sorry.
We didn't have some of the basic utilities that we needed to get by. Makes an uncomfortable situation, and the only answer is to try to keep your calm. He's okay.
I just grabbed him as quick as I could.
That's cool. He's not bleeding or anything. He seems alright.
Okay, calm down, but we got her out, okay? She may have a concussion, but we got her out.
I spent about an hour or 2 getting them set up in an uncomfortable position and waiting for the ambulance to show up. Unfortunately, that little girl who had fallen down the stairs ended up developing some bad pneumonia from that night and passed away.
There's been a massive destruction here in the Tuscaloosa area, and all along the way we've seen scores of buildings that have been leveled.
I think it really hit me the next morning that the night video, you just don't know, but that first light of day chopper video was just horrifying.
It looked like it intensified just as it came into Tuscaloosa.
Didn't recognize anything. It could have been any place in the world. I wouldn't know what that was. Even though I've been doing this for 36 years and I've worked through many tornado outbreaks, this was the big one for me.
This is certainly one of the worst tornadoes that I've ever seen.
There's just a van on the side of it.
The fact that we woke up to sunny weather was just very odd because we had just been through such a monster of a storm.
It's a fire station.
We immediately started seeing damage, and one of the first real places that we saw was a fire station.
Oh, this used to be the church.
I looked up and I saw just this gaping hole inside this church.
Oh, and every day they had this sign that was like inspirational.
There was a chandelier that was still there. It was just this sad little church that used to be so grand and beautiful, and it was just crumbling. That was a scene that I will never forget.
You would hear someone screaming a name and just looking to see if they could find their loved one. There was one gentleman who just instantly fell to his knees and just started to pray. It turned out later that he was supposed to be inside that building. That building was a restaurant, and it just so happened it was his day off.
I did see some people who were pulled out that didn't make it, and there were also some people that we felt like we could hear calling for help, and we dig down and we can't find them.
There was this young college boy who came in, and he had some really significant chest trauma and head trauma. He reminded me of my son, and I felt like I wanted to be the one to take care of him. All I could think of was, here is this young man who did absolutely nothing wrong, but he's gonna die. And I knew he was gonna die. And it just broke my heart.
Of college students from the University of Alabama live down there. I actually talked with one. She told me that she was in her bathroom when that tornado came through. She says only the bathroom was left standing in their house, and thankfully... As we were out there, there was a woman who said the storm blew her newborn baby out of her arms. Somebody heard a cry in the rubble, and she was determined that was her baby. We were all out there, we were digging and moving the bricks with her. But then our hearts dropped when we got to the source of the cry, and it was some kid's doll that had a crying mechanism in it. I don't believe to this day they ever found that child.